Hey everybody, welcome to You, Me, and a Fence Post, the podcast with it's going to be a mother and son perspective today because I got a special guest host that I'm really excited about. So I'm Clint Chaffer.
And I'm Anita Chaffer, Clint's mother.
And today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite things about growing up on our family farm. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm really excited about this special episode because we were able to convince Mom somehow to come in and fill in for Tara because Tara couldn't make it today. So Mom, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah, this is your this isn't your first time on a podcast. You and I have done a couple things before on some other podcasting there.
Yeah, very little, but we did.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Probably the farm. That's my history.
Hey, so. There we go. So I think it'd be good to talk about just what do we love about our family farm. I think that'd be a fun place to start. So what if I ask you what the most favorite part about our farm is, what comes top of mind?
Just the farm itself. We've got a beautiful spot where we sit along the bluff. We have lots of pasture, timberland. We've got some creeks that run through. Just a beautiful place to raise kids.
You know, I've always said that to, friends and coworkers and things of that nature when they ask me, where I'm from or what my background is. And our farm, to Mom's point, is just nestled down in, basically a great big timber, right?
Yes.
And you said, we got all of our different creeks. I think there are 5 natural springs on that farm that run all year long, right?
Yes, absolutely. We had cattle, and we would move them to a different place, and we never had to carry water. It was always open, and like I say, just so blessed to be on that farm. There's just so few along that bluff that have all the amenities that we do. So
I always laughed, I think, Boaks are probably some of our closest neighbors, and they're, a couple miles away, right?
Right.
I mean, like they're, it's a pretty secluded little area there. I think, what do we call it? Hidden Valley, right?
Yes. Years and years ago, of course, that's where I spent some of my childhood was on that farm. And we had, of course, doctors used to do house calls, and I was sick, and my dad called the doctor, and he come out, and he's actually the one for doctor from Keseberg, and he said that, oh my goodness, he said this is a hidden valley, and ever since then, that's what we called it, was the Hidden Valley Farm.
Nice. Well, luckily we haven't been sued by Hidden Valley Ranch yet, so with all the dressing, so that's at least good, right?
That's good. Yeah.
It probably says that we're probably not big enough. So.
No, I don't think we're going to advertise that. So,
you talked about cattle, and that was another thing. So we got out of cattle. You've heard Tara and I talk about this in 2002. That farm was designed for cattle, though. I mean, it was just beautiful for the pasture, for the timber, for the natural springs. Like I said, everybody talks about carrying water to their cattle, especially in the wintertime. We didn't have that.
No, we didn't. And as far as the calves being born in the spring, they always found shelter either up on top of the bluff, the wind would be down below, or the wind would be the other way around, and they'd be below, and of course a lot of brush piles, and the cattle would actually hide their calves in a brush pile to protect them.
Oh, yeah. It's almost funny because it's almost like deer, right? You can never find the baby deer, and there's a lot of times that our calves were the same way. They would nestle them down somewhere, and you couldn't find them.
Yes,
so.
In that lot right next to the house, we had a cow that had a calf and couldn't find it, and we were in a terrible, terrible snowstorm, and anyway, it was 3 days, and the mother cow was out there, never did see the calf. And 3 days later, the calf poked its head out of a brush pile, and out it come, and healthy as a horse. And it was hungry, but it was safe. So
no, that is, like I said, just the layout of our farm. I mean, us kids, you guys had we had 4-wheelers, and I remember, I mean, we could ride those things for literally miles all over the place.
Yes, we started off with motorcycles and did hill climbing and in the timbers and over the logs, and just had a blast doing that. And then went to 3-wheelers, and then eventually 4-wheelers, and we still have 4-wheelers. And my transportation of choice is side by side. So that's my work mobile.
So I think you spend a majority of your life in a side by side when it's not either planting or harvest. So.
Absolutely, and that's another thing our farm requires, is almost to have that kind of vehicle to maneuver in, because the 4-wheelers and the side by side, because it's just not meant to take your pickup everywhere. So
I'll stick to my Jeep. I'll keep driving my Jeep all over.
Okay, that might work. So.
You know, the other thing too, you know, as we talk about like just kind of the layout of it and everything else, but there's also a lot of work that goes in with having a layout that big though too. I mean, you spend a lot of time mowing.
Yes, I do. Probably, I'd say 5 acres, and anyway, and none of it is easy mowing. It's around, I do a walnut grove full of trees, and around a creek, and it's up and down hills. There isn't 2 foot of flat space on that farm.
No, that's for sure. So what was your favorite part about raising kids on the farm?
Oh, just absolutely everything. Never had to worry about traffic. Always something to do. You were in the timber and in the creek catching frogs and and doing chores. At that time, we had the cattle, and it's always been a farm. I've said that if you're bored, it's because you choose to be. It's not because there isn't something to go do. So
that's for sure. I just remember as a kid, you know, it's probably added to my imagination, right? Because I remember, you know, grabbing a stick and probably taking our dog Sandy and walking for hours through the timber, right? Probably pretending I was a, you know, Marine or something of that at that point in time. But I mean, you could just walk around forever, and there wasn't any like concern. I mean, I was out literally in the woods by myself as, you know, I don't know, probably an 8-year-old kid. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. And I went berry picking day after day. Yeah. I did all the raspberries, and my mother moved to the farm, and she was a gooseberry picker.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you took her on her last trip of gooseberry
picking. I did, yeah.
In a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, which that's tricky, but we made it work. So
you bet.
You know, that was actually another blessing too. You know, you talk about, you know, our family being down there, but it was amazing to have my grandparents right down the road. You know, I mean, Grandma always had Snickers bars and everything like that, and it was just so cool this was a 1/4 mile down the same lane that our house was on, so we literally could just walk to Grandma's house, and that was so much fun. You know, I mean, not only in the timber, but we got family right there too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was like I say, I just feel so blessed with my life all the way around. So.
When did you guys move down there? Is 75? Is that when you all moved? 76, 75?
Yeah, let's see. We got married in 74 and then moved to the farm at 75.
75.
Yeah, March.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I thought. And, you know, that's the other cool thing is, I mean, you and Dad are the primary farmers, right? I mean, Uncle Bill helps out, and, you know, us kids will jump in and help. But what are some of the things that you absolutely love doing when it comes to spring or harvest, right? When it comes to the actual crop aspect of it, what's some of your most favorite aspects there?
I love the field work. I just love the, and of course I like the hands-free, of course, now. So
you didn't for a long time.
I was a while. I'm a little bit old school when it comes to changing, but thank heavens my husband is all about change and technology, and so it's been absolutely wonderful. But I do love the field work anyway. I love the smell of the soil when you turn it over, and the look of the field when you get done, and just the challenge of closing it up, getting close to the fence, and
without hitting it.
Without hitting it, which I have done a few times.
We all have.
I drug a piece of the fence around with me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, no, I love the field work, but I like I like all aspects of it. I really do. I like when the crop comes out, and I run the semi and take all the crop back to the grain bins, and I really miss that. It's a little hard getting started, and then all of a sudden when it's over, oh my, I miss it. Like, what am I going to do today? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you haul, almost all of our crop to the grain bins, and you talked about field work, and I do want to touch on that though. Coming out of winter, right? I mean, we have winter blues going on right now, right? My wife and I were just talking about this before you and I started recording, which is, it's like, what, -10 outside?
Right.
With ice. I've been fighting frozen pipes all morning. So, the winter blues are a real thing. You talked about the smell of the dirt, and I don't know what it is about coming out of winter. That's like when officially I know it's spring. Right? Like you smell that first that first field work that starts happening, and you smell that fresh dirt, and there's just not a better smell than that to me.
No, like me either. I just and I don't know, a lot of people our age, and they take off for the winter and go south and in the warm, and I can honestly say I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine not having the change of seasons, even though I love the snow. I don't like the cold and the wind.
Sure.
I don't even mind the cold if the wind wasn't blowing.
I
I think that's the number one thing. But I love the change of seasons, and that first time it warms up, and you hear the birds, and well, I just love it.
That's the other cool part about our farm here, and I know we keep talking about all these fun things that we love about it, but it truly is a really special place, at least to us. And you talk about the snow. Is there a better farm to sled on? I mean, we have beautiful hills. You keep them mowed down, and they're like nice and smooth and everything else. And I absolutely think it's just one of the best sledding farms that there is.
Yes, it is. And even earlier this winter, before it got so cold, we got to take our grandkids sledding, and we have about it's a quarter-mile lane down over the hill, and they sled clear down over the hill and clear to the shop. I mean, it was just wonderful.
Well, this year, if you had any runner sleds with as much ice that we had, that would have been the sled to be using at that point.
Yes, and we did. We hadn't even a runner sled, but and then they have it a little bit different than we had it when I grew up, because of course if you sled down the hill you had to walk back up, but between Grandpa got out the snowmobile and I have my side-by-side, and we just hook the little loop over the hitch, and they get a ride both ways. I
don't think that happened a whole lot with us, so.
Oh, wow. Well, it sure didn't with me, I tell you. So.
Actually, I can't say that. Dad, we had that four-wheel drive four-wheeler, like a 1986 Honda, I think is what it was. And I think Tara just posted a picture of that thing on Twitter. Yeah, they're still using it.
Oh, he's got his blade on it.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like, because I remember Dad used to pull us around. You remember that box sled that we had?
Yes.
Yeah, and he'd pull us all over there. So I know that was always fun. But I always remember the funny part. We talk about raising cattle. The worst part about raising cattle and sledding, frozen cow pies under the snow was the worst kind of speed bump that you could hit as a kid.
Exactly. Ugh. Yeah. They weren't much fun in the summer driving through them with your freshly washed vehicle either.
Or on a four-wheeler and they splatter you in the face or whatever.
Up your back. Oh my, yes. So.
Well, and so I wanted to bring this up too, and this is something that maybe a lot of people don't know about my mother, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I think it's hilarious. But you mentioned motorcycles you all grew up like riding, like you had like a street bike too, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a 500 Honda, and we took her on, we went on the road, went up to the Wisconsin Dells, and yeah, I rode to Burlington all the time.
I'm like picturing you in like, like the Harley gear and everything else, like.
We had what you called blast jackets, those nylon blast jackets, and helmets, and and it was funny. One time we did take a ride to Wisconsin up to the Dells, and there was 3 couples of us, but we had 4 bikes. The other 2 rode double, but Dad and I took our separate ones, and yet they treated us like Hell's Angels. We went in the back room of every restaurant they had, and it got to be a joke after a while. We would walk in and go, well, you need to take down your rope and let us in the back room, because I don't know what. And we had the Bloss bunch of bikes. All 4 were brown.
Yeah.
And we all dressed in drab. I don't know. They just thought we were Hell's Angels when we come pulling in.
That's funny. You talk about that brown too. I remember like seeing like the old Honda brown, which I'm sure is what it was. A little bit of sparkle in the brown paint and everything. And that's just funny. That's why I always tell everybody. I'm like, my mom was a biker, and now she's a big rig driver. So I'm like, you're just checking all the boxes here.
Oh yeah.
So what about harvest? You talked about running the semi. What are some of your other fun parts about just harvest season in general?
Oh, scooping grain bins.
No, that's not your favorite part. That's nobody's favorite part.
I can honestly say I look at it a little different than what, it's a mindset that you got to get in the first place. But I look at it like, so far, I should be lucky that I'm able to do it.
Yeah,
and it's good exercise. Yeah. And every scoop I take, and it's like, hey, there's a lot of people that can't do this. And so I feel fortunate, actually.
No, that's a good call out. No, I never even thought about it like that. But
I just, you have to when there's that much work on that farm.
That's true.
You just have to keep thinking, hey, I'm lucky I can keep doing this. So
the one random thing that I actually kind of miss, and I always go back to harvest season on this, is emptying out the old straight trucks. I don't know what it was about, like our old Sundance and Louisville, I think, were our two straight trucks.
Yes.
But there's something that I loved about, as a kid, the box hoist goes up, we clean out the corners, the corn would pile up, there's just something really fun about that I think that we kind of miss out on nowadays. Like, I don't know, you just pull the semi and you don't even hardly see it,
I probably couldn't even raise that tailgate now. But we have the belly dump with a electric. So
you talked about Dad being the tech guy. You guys got like electric push button everything on the semis now. So no tarp though. He hasn't put the roll tarp on yet.
Not the electric.
Yeah,
no.
not the electric. So that's like the next step. You gotta prod him a little bit here. So
So
you did get your automatic transmission though. That's been nice.
That's been wonderful, and especially when I had the grandchildren when they were little, instead of shifting, and I used to put Finley in there in a dog pillow down on the floor, and she'd take a nap in that great big old fluffy pillow, and I got along fine with her in there. So.
Well, that's what I always love, like watching everybody on Twitter, especially in harvest season. You see some of it during planting season as well, with their kids sleeping on the floor, or sacked out in the buddy seat or whatever, and all curled up in a blanket of some sort. And it's like, how many hours did us kids spend probably sleeping on the floor of the combine or on the floor of the truck or the tractor or whatever else?
Yep. That's just part of being part of the farming, I guess. I couldn't stay home and stay in the house, so you got to come with me. So
And we were all terrible kids, so you couldn't get a babysitter. So I mean, that I couldn't convince anybody there.
And when you got old enough to stay at home while I was out in the field, we had FM radios, and that we always thought was a good thing, of course, because we could communicate with each other. Except then he would get in a fight with his sisters, and Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
You were entertaining on there. I had the neighbors even laughing and calling, going, I can't wait to get home and get on the radio to listen to the Chaffer Kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we probably over-communicated on the old FM radio there. So, no,
But it was fun.
Absolutely. Well, all right. Well, Mom, thank you for joining us. And I just want to say I love you, and thanks for coming on here. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I love you, too. So,
all right. Well, and thank you all for joining us. This has been an absolute blast. I love talking to my family on this, and I'm glad that you all joined us here to listen to our conversation here today. So remember to like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified each and every time that we come out with new content. Also, remember that we're available wherever podcasts are available as well as of course YouTube. So thanks again for joining us.